Thank you, everybody, for coming to the Better Festing panel. I am so honored to be moderating this year. I was sitting in the audience last year as a filmmaker, and I learned so very much. My film has been screened at 15 different festivals all around the world. I see this as a great place for festival programmers and filmmakers to get together and make each other's lives easier, because really we're on the same side. And sometimes I think as a filmmaker it can feel like a big black hole. It can feel very intimidating. You don't necessarily know how a film festival is run. And this is your chance to ask every question you've ever wanted to know, because I guarantee if you've wondered about it, someone else has too. So, without further ado, everyone, we go down the line, everyone can introduce themselves and what festival you are with.
Sure. Hi, everyone. My name is Todd Staruch. I run the Grindhouse Nights Film Festival in New Jersey.
Debra Markowitz. I am one of the people who runs the Long Island International Film Expo, right here.
Hi, I'm Katha, Cato from the Queens World Film Festival.
My name is Thompson. I am the executive director of the first annual Phoenixville Film Festival, which is hosting at the theater where they filmed The Blob. And also, prior to that, I spent 5 years as the programming director of the Fort Myers Beach International Film Festival.
Sorry, I'm Sam Avery. I run the Blackbird Film Festival in Central New York.
Yeah!
So, also, by a show of hands, how many of you are also or have been filmmakers? So it really goes to show that we are all on the same side. So why do each of you give your time to film festivals? Sam, I'm going to start with you.
Oh man!
Yeah,
come on.
Yeah, you don't get to sit on the end and then always get time to think about it. I'm going to move around.
Yes.
That's why. Okay.
It is an often.
The question would give, why do I give my time to this?
Yeah, it is a grind. It is very time consuming. It is most often a volunteer position.
Yeah.
Why?
It's a really good question.
Yeah.
One that I hope to get the answer
And
to
I'm not
today.
trying to talk anybody out of doing it. I don't want anybody to walk away and be like, and that's it.
Yeah, so yeah, we're in.
I'm done.
I don't know. I can't really give the answer. I will agree with everything you just said. It's incredibly time consuming. I think going into it, I did not think that it was going to be such a life consuming thing. But it really, I think that one of the things I have now learned, as once upon a time a filmmaker submitting to festivals, now a festival director, managing all the baloney. I think there's a disparity between filmmakers and festivals, and I think there's a lot of the filmmakers sometimes think that festivals are like easy. You just select some films and screen them, and it's so much work. It is so much work. And so I think that I don't know. I don't have a good answer for that. It's definitely one of those things where it's like, why am I doing this every year?
Kind of like shooting a film.
Yeah. I can't say it's for the for the love of film. Is that what you said?
Yeah.
No, like shooting one, like you usually.
Yeah.
You're like, why who came up with this?
You get to the end, you're like, why? Why have I done this to myself? But so I don't know. I will say that at the conclusion of a festival, there is this feeling of euphoria that comes over you that's like, oh my God, we did it. This is awesome. And I'm like on the other side. I think it's the same as film, right? You finally get to the end, you're screening it, it's like, this is amazing. I'm so happy, I forget everything was terrible about it. But in the moment, it's like, why? Why?
How about you, Go?
Yeah. So I think I have two answers to this. My funny answer is there's a really funny meme from Uncut Gems, and it says, your film is bad, so you start your own festival, and that's how you win. That's my funny answer. Well, my real answer is honestly, I've had the opportunity to travel to, all sorts of festivals. I've traveled to Blackbird, which is amazing. I've traveled to obviously here, which is amazing. And you start to learn. You go to other festivals, and you start to realize that are we really giving filmmakers sort of the opportunity that I think some films deserve? That's harder to say. I think. I'm a filmmaker first and an executive director second. And we really just wanted to give an experience to filmmakers who, I think I'm speaking for everybody here, is that maybe they might not get in festivals. I've been to some festivals, I've been to Oscar qualifying festivals that sort of kind of fall flat in respect. And you go to these smaller festivals and you start to see the friendships, that you've made. I actually recognize some folks from Blackbird that I met last year, which is cool. And so you start to you build those relationships throughout the course of these film festivals. I think that's what's most important, is building those personal relationship. And I've known Sam now for a couple of years, so I think that's why we do it. I love that human connection piece.
Katha?
Well, it's incredibly lucrative.
Really?
Yeah. Well, there's a couple of answers to that. I love the gathering. I love humans coming together. I think it's incredibly important. I love the gathering around the storytellers. That moves me into a place that's very primal and that I don't really understand. I just have to be there, and I know when I'm there. When I was coming up as a kid, I was raised in the country, and I was supposed to marry Billy Bob, and I should have had a shotgun in the back of the Ford, and I should have, well, we did, actually. And
Your festival, that sounds
yeah,
great.
that was a good truck, let me tell you. Very good truck. But I remember how everybody was like, "Oh, Kathy, you're so crazy. You're so crazy. You're so crazy. You're so crazy." And then I moved to New York, and then I've gone back to a couple times back to that town. They're like, "You did it. You went to New York. You did it. You did it." And that's right. And so then you're in New York with all of this. With all of this, I don't want to wait around to be called. I want to call you. And I want to find that perfect time when it's not too exhausting for everybody to come together and make sure that the work looks like you want it to look, because I know how hard it is to get in that room. And I've been in the lobby when my dad said, "Is it good? Is she good or is she crazy?" And I had a great director just say, "She's here." And that's all that mattered. And so when I walk around the festival, sometimes it's just amazing to me that we're here.
Yeah.
That we're here.
Yeah.
And so that's why I do it. And that's why whenever she calls to do anything, I'm here. And I'm so glad you're all here too. I'm so glad.
Oh, why did we do it? Okay. Well, the reason that it was started was 26 years ago, I ran the Nassau County Film Commission, and the folks from the Long Island Film and TV Foundation came up to me and said, "We got a little film festival in Suffolk and we want to do it in Nassau. You don't have to do anything. Put your name on it. We're going to give you films. We're going to do everything." They introduced me to Ann and Henry Street. That's it. Great. 6 weeks before the film festival, the person in Suffolk said, "You can't have any of our films." I have now promised the county executive he's going to have a film festival. And so luckily we called in a lot of favors from people I had worked with while they were filming their films and said, "What do you got?" And all of a sudden people started giving us 35 millimeter and 16 millimeter films. And somehow or another we got 50, mostly very good films, played them all twice. Was really surprised the third day that there was a line of people around the corner. What I didn't know is there were 5 screens and they mostly weren't for us, but it was very exciting for that moment that happened. And it did end up actually being way more successful than we thought it would be, even though we killed ourselves in those 6 weeks. And since then, it's kind of been growing. We've switched venues, we've had multiple venues, and then we've been here for probably 20 years, maybe a little less.
Ooh, wow.
It can be summed up why we do it, because if you were here for the Filmmakers Breakfast Town and you saw the diversity of filmmakers we had and all the different projects and everybody sitting there talking to each other, and then that's that feeling of wow. And the other reason is, as Kyle had said, is the fact that as filmmakers ourselves, you go around and you get to know people, and actually everybody here, one of my films or more has been in every one of their film festivals, and they're here because I love their film festivals, and everyone is different. I kind of hope not to be doing this forever. So we bring in new people, and hopefully, 1 or 2 gel every couple of years, and then they can carry on at some point. Because when you run a film festival and you're a filmmaker and you hopefully have a life. It's very, very difficult. But that's my story.
So for me, like my brethren, some of my brethren here have said, it really is just the love of community. For me, my festival started just a bunch of people sitting in the back room of a comic book shop watching indie horror films. And I said, I think we could make this bigger. And I have a friend who owns a bar and restaurant with a bunch of TV screens. Katha back there knows about it. I said, I think we could screen some films here just to get people to see them. I never thought anyone would show up. And the first one, I had more people than I could seat in the place. And I said, well, I think this could be something. And it was a bit selfish because I said, there's going to be a curated festival. I'm going to show the films that I want. I'm a bit of a control freak. So I said, I'm going to start my own event so I can do it exactly the way I want to do it, and nobody can tell me otherwise. And then that was it. Then the genie was out of the bottle, and it just grew from there. And again, for me, it's just community. You know, I get to meet people, you know, that just love what I love, and it's just a shared experience. The business side and the work side of the festival for me, is worth all of it. Just to then, once the event starts, and I'm just hanging out with people who love the same things that I love, all of it is worth it. You know?
The festival week is like the easiest week, actually.
Yeah, yes, it is.
And it's because then it's all done. Whatever it is, and then you get to walk around.
Yeah, once the event starts, I have a projectionist and a sound guy and everything, and it kind of just does itself the day of the event, and I just walk around being me. You know.
It really is impressive, the community that comes together around a film festival. And I always say I found my people at film festivals, and I found a lot of my co-creators, people I've worked with, like Manny and Lindsay at this festival. We met at a different festival, then we started working together, and they brought me down here. So it's about the people at the end of the day. But each festival kind of draws its own little crowd. Each festival is so different. Tell me about your festival. What is it that makes it a little unique? Tell me about it. You know, like yours is a genre festival. So if everybody could just go down the line, and we'll start down here and we'll go down that way this time, and just tell me about the festival a little.
Sure. So I'm a horror guy, so it's a horror and genre festival, as you said, but mine was a little different because I know so many people in so many different forms of entertainment. I combine a film festival with live entertainment. So it's just a full day of genre-themed entertainment. So it'll be a block of films and then a vocalist or a magician or a sideshow performer or a burlesque dancer or whatever. Debra has experienced some of the entertainment. And again, that's
impressive.
You heard correctly.
A 5, 6, 7, 8. Let's go.
But again, a little bit from I said I want to see the entertainers that I want to see, and it's my festival, so I can do what I want.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to do something a little bit different. Every festival has its thing, right?
Yes.
And I just said, well, people have short attention spans, right? So to make people sit through like 8 hours of film after film after film, as much as we love film, sometimes people start to drift. So I said, all right, we'll have a break where we'll just have some kind of a performer or entertainer, and then that's that.
Okay. Debra, we're going to go to you last. Okay. So Katha, we're going to go to you now.
Well, Queens World Film Festival is a curated festival also. It's open submissions, and we don't invite films. We curate 100% from what is submitted, and then we curate thematically. And internally, there is a story that the festival tells over the course of the year, and over the course of the 11 days. It just feels like a year. And we know very specifically the first word of the films that will be screening. We know very specifically the last frame, the last sentence, I believe. Patrick, were you on Good Times or the fishing one? Is that the one, the fishing one?
No. I've had a couple of films in yours.
But I'm thinking of, I can't remember the name of the film, but when the sinker hits the water, that's the end of the festival. And we know this, and the festival tells a story. But then we had 55 blocks this last time around, and so each one is, I know it's insane, it's fucking stupid, it's craziness, it's fucking crazy, it's ridiculous. But, so there are these themes that are running through, but then that helps us do two things. That helps us market it to the audience that needs to see your film, because my commitment is that you're outnumbered at your screening. You're not related to everybody in the screening, right? And that it's not your crew. I want people who are there because they're interested in that theme and we were able to get there, because then they're gonna ask you a question in the Q&A that you're gonna be better for. And we know our lane, we know where we are, you're passing through us, and you need to go on to bigger and better, and you need to be better at festing when you leave us, and our festival associates need to be better at production when they leave us, and so that thematic approach helps us pull in the widest variety of filmmakers and the widest variety of audience, because you know how it is when you're looking at a festival, like, okay, what is a block, and is every film 3 minutes? If I paid $15 for that 3-minute film, do I get other film? Like, what is, I don't understand if you don't know a film festival. So that's why we want them to know, if you're interested in twisted love stories, this is 90 minutes of it. If you're interested in environmental crazy shit, this is the 90 minutes for it. And then there's a Q&A afterwards, after every one. You know, frankly, I think we got too big, too much, too big. Just because I can do it is not the best reason to do it. And so, like you said, it's our festival, we can do what we want. So actually this year, we're not doing a live event. Every month, we're just leaning into these free events and doing different things. We have 11 interns working on producing their own short films right now, and it's just a breathing room. We don't have to do it. We're turning 14. We don't have to do an annual. So we're really looking at how, because the industry's changing right now, big time. It's scary. So we are just taking a little bit of time to kind of see what's needed from us next year, and how are we going to do that so that you're still standing and we're still standing, because it's really, really hard. It's really hard to find the perfect spot for y'all. It's hard. It's very hard.
What was the question again? Sorry.
There's so many great answers, and I lost the question.
Yes. Tell us about your festival.
Yeah.
What sets it apart?
Cool, awesome. So the Phoenixville International Film Festival. This is the reason I'm here because this is year one for us. So I'm just ripping off ideas from everybody here. So we're doing that.
Too late
to basic cans.
No, wait, so has it actually happened yet?
It happens in September.
Oh, you're
Yeah.
You're
So
going.
so I live in a really cool town called Phoenixville. Like I said, it's our theater is known for, you ever seen the 1958 film The Blob, They All Run Out. It's more notable in the movie Grease, in the drive-in movie theater. They're watching The Blob, and that same theater's in there. So that's the theater we're having it. I mean, I think we're still trying to figure things out. Being a programming director of the Fort Myers Beach International and just being able to attend festivals, you know, I was able to pull things, you know, each individual festival I've been to. So, you know, to answer the question of what makes it unique, I don't know yet.
That's fair.
I mean, like, you know, I think we're gonna let it shape, and also I think it's important to let the filmmakers who attend also help shape that festival. You know, we have some pretty cool things planned out, and you know, we're constantly, you know, hearing ideas. I mean, this is, you know, again, I've partnered with Sam a lot on these things, and just seeing Blackbird in Long Island, just, you know, I'm stealing all your ideas. That's, but I think so. We're still in the early stages of it.
Yeah.
Fort Myers was unique because we were on an island of, you know, Fort Myers Beach. So, you know, it was cool to get filmmaker, you know, who doesn't want to go to the beach and sit in the sunshine in 80-degree weather? You know, and that was a really cool. We played at the theater, and that was sort of we were there as filmmakers and became programmers after that. And you know, that festival is sort of on hold because of the hurricane that happened last year. I'm sure you guys are aware of it. But yeah, so I mean, to land this plane, we're still trying to figure that out. So,
How about you, Sam?
Yeah, I think I've been thinking about it the whole time. I didn't get to go first this time. So. Yeah, I think it's, so Blackbird, I mean, it's hosted at a college in central New York, SUNY Cortland. Any SUNY Cortland grads here, aside from Emily? Emily was one of our interns this past year. Yeah, Emily. And an all-star from years before. But yeah, it's hosted at a college. There's a lot of student involvement in, which I think is kind of unique. It's not unique to all festivals, but like it's interesting to have filmmaking students also engaged in this. But yeah, I mean, honestly, everything you said was spot on about this. It's the how do you create the environment for it, and the curation process that you talked about was exactly it. I think that is what really differentiates festivals in terms of a grand scale. You've got festivals that I have been to festivals before where they play them alphabetical. They will play your film based on the alphabetical listing of the title. So that is one thing for filmmakers.
Idea. That is really easy, actually. That's like a button.
What's the point of it all? You have Film Freeway curated, alphabetical.
I'm in.
Did that programmer never make a mixtape in their life?
I have been to festivals before where they literally just play them straight, and it's like, and you think just like, what is happening here? I've been to festivals where they overlay the screenings. There's no way for you as a filmmaker to attend all the screenings because they stack them on top of each other. I've been to festivals where there's screenings across town. You gotta drive 30 minutes to get to the other theater. I mean, it's nonsense, And you as a filmmaker, you're like, I'm here to present my work. I want to meet my peers and etc. And like, you can't see their work, they can't access your work. It's nonsense. So exactly what you're saying about it is a festival's responsibility to curate the screenings is so true. And I think that one of the things that Blackbird does, and obviously festivals here do as well. Sorry, here's congratulations. Yeah. I'll just put my hand here. That's all right. I think so. One of the things I guess that I would say like differentiates us from those that don't is the curation process, being very thoughtful about not just the screening block, but the entire program itself, and ensuring that you are creating a space for filmmakers to meet one another, to see each other's work, et cetera, et cetera. That being said, I have felt, and Blackbird's only about 10 years old now, but even in those years, I've felt the shift, right? The shift from like them filmmakers early in our days, like we're like, hey, we're going to screen some films. People just came out of the woodwork to the middle of central New York. I mean, Nicole, you've been there. It's in the middle of nowhere. I mean, there's more cows than there are people. But like, sure enough, people come out of nowhere to see these films. Like, all right, what's the deal with this? But then COVID happened, and it's like, what's happening now? So like, we're in kind of a shift ourselves as to like, how do we differentiate? And we've been leaning into, for future years, this idea of like a film camp kind of thing. Because like, we all love films, we like to see films. So I think at the end of the day, as I think all of you would agree, what makes film festivals special is like filmmakers meeting filmmakers. And so like, sometimes, I hate to say this, watching films, especially in the world of like Vimeo, it gets in the way of filmmakers simply just meeting each other. So how do we as film festivals create a space that almost leans more into the filmmaker interaction rather than the filmmaker sitting in a screening and watching? It's like, you could just put a QR code on your whatever, maybe tattoo on your chest, and people could scan that, and then they could go to your website and see your stuff. But it's more important that like, we brought you together to meet one another. Do you have a QR code scan?
No, I'm picturing though, like,
where would you put that?
I love that. This is like,
it could be his personal website here, and then Phoenix Film Fest.
Do I have to break you two up, right?
do you remember the angels on like the shoulders?
Yes.
She's like, get a QR code in your chat. She's like, don't do it. I'm like, as if it like was a consideration.
Too late.
Yeah, too late. Yeah. But if you guys are interested in submitting, no, I'm kidding.
Scanned his body.
Debra. Now, what's different about LIIFE, and maybe it's not so different anymore, is that we never really had a genre. It would be the best films that we could find that would fit together. You try to have no nudity during the day. You try to get spicier stuff at night. We had a nude film from Australia. We showed at midnight. It was the only midnight screening we had, and it was a great film. But everyone was naked. We thought probably we would to play it during the day. So we played it. And the filmmaker came in. It was a lot of fun or whatever. But so basically bundled it in groups of sometimes 2 hours, or trying to make them shorter, because having been a filmmaker, I don't want to sit through 2 hours. I want to get out there and meet people. So basically it's any genre, what we feel works. Anna and Henry bring their theater experience, what they think works, and then I bring what I think is going to work as a filmmaker. And since we got Lindsay and Manny involved, they started Midnight Madness, which is just kind of really kooky, whatever
Yes.
goes.
Which is
type of
tonight.
films. Yeah, and then
Everyone
there's
should go.
yeah, and we started probably about 10 years ago, maybe more, with horror blocks, but just a random horror block. But now there's people want it, you know. So I know that Lindsay and Manny basically started Midnight Madness. They started Scared for Your Life, the film blocks, and then we also have the Scared for Your Life Film Festival, which is just plain horror, run by Anthony Labriola. But what they do, because basically they've really been in charge now of more of the programming, and they try and put it in more cohesive blocks, you know. And what that means sometimes is you're not playing some really good films, maybe they don't fit in there, but they have to be the length. So it's really the topic of the film blocks and whatnot. And it is so difficult.
Yes.
Because the friendships are amazing and great, and you know what? Sometimes people you've made friendships with, their films don't get in.
Yes.
And that's really hard. Really hard to do. You're always balancing who's going to bring people, but this is so good we have to take it anyway, but who's going to... And it's really difficult.
And that's one of the next things I want to talk about is I'm sure a lot of you are here to hear about how to get your film into a film festival. I think it's important to understand each film festival has its own approach to how it selects films. I know a film festival, there's one person and they watch all the films and they decide what goes in. There are others with committees and they break it up, and these people look at these films and these people look at these films. So you don't have to all answer this question because it may be a little repetitive, but if one or two of you could talk about how your film festival handles going through all those submissions and deciding what to program. Who wants to take it?
I mean, I could, being a programming director, you do watch a lot of movies. I think it's interesting, right? There are, so like Debra said, there's a festivals who I've been to where it was like, you know somebody to somebody, which I think is extremely unfair. What we did in Fort Myers, which we've just carried on to Phoenixville, we just have a rating system. So literally we have about 10 programmers on our team, 2 programmers, but then we have a bunch of judges, and we rate it by story, cinematography, sound. Sound's a big one, by the way, in filmmakers. That's like, that'll easily rule you out. I'm sure when I hear say that, right? Like, I think, you know, and we just basically rate it, and then we look at the highest films, rate it, but then it comes down to length. Length is for us, I'm sure, again, I'm not speaking for everybody, is the single-handed thing and I know everyone gets that rejection letter that says like, oh, you know, not enough spots, right? That is 100% true. We've had to turn films down that were amazing just because we couldn't find a spot for them, just because it was like, you know, a minute or two too long. Because a lot of times, like for Phoenixville, like we have a theater that, you know, for 4 days, and we only have a set number of slots, right? So we have to. Good with that? You're all right? You almost do you need coffee? Do you need them?
I'm good.
Your coffee, you have the coffee.
Her coffee almost spilled.
Yeah.
You
Anyway,
know you're on a panel, right? You're such an easy prey. I'm so sorry.
Prey?
I'm a bad girl. I'm a professional bad girl.
It's all right. It's all right. It's the QR code on my check. Anyway, so
There's only
no,
fans
we're
QRs
just
back here.
for all fair, I've known him for a little bit. I've known Debra, so we're obviously very fun and hanging out. It was good meeting you. You're fun too. I'm just saying. Sorry. If you don't want to like that, it's
You
just
want
fine.
me to
Okay. No.
John, is this going to be edited?
Streamlined. No, good lord.
So film length,
Yeah.
programming a block.
Yeah, yeah, length. Just make your film short. That's all I
So
got.
that is one of my big questions that I talk about a lot, and just very quickly, like you can just give a one-word answer. For a short film, what is the perfect length? Start here, go down the line.
I refuse to answer that question. No,
come on,
but
you're the
seriously,
first
no. As a filmmaker, on the other side, it drives me crazy, right? I make the film that I want to make, and if you reject it because it's 17 minutes instead of 15,
But
tough, I don't care.
Putting that aside, if a filmmaker is making a film to get into festivals, they're in writing, they're writing pre-production, what should a goal in their head be?
15 minutes.
15 minutes? Okay.
Yeah, I mean.
You're gonna put a gun to my head.
The real answer is as long as you need to tell the story, not as much as you want to.
Right.
But to counter that, and everyone can answer this in their own heads, how many of us have seen a short film that was 15 minutes long that only needed to be 10 minutes long?
Always, yeah, all the time.
So that's why it's part of the reason I asked this question, is because there was a film festival I was at that the film festival program straight up said, I've never seen a short film I couldn't cut something from. So I think it empowers and informs filmmakers to look at their films with an editing eye, both in pre-production, when they're writing, when they're shooting, and when they're editing. So,
But I'm sorry, that comes down to pacing in general of any
Yes,
film,
definitely.
right? So I refuse to cut a film just thinking, well, if I cut another minute, will it help me get accepted to a film festival?
well,
I will tell my story.
I don't think film festivals
You know.
should ever be the ultimate goal,
Right.
but having a strong film that every film festival will want to program because it's a strong film.
100%.
That is.
100%.
I mean, I don't know what I have, 3, 4, 5 films out there right now, but one is 5 minutes, and I've only submitted one place, it got in, okay, so I can't really judge that, but I wanted to keep it 5 minutes specifically for that reason, it's easy to get into. One is 10 minutes, it's a Better Man, it's actually less than 10. Then there's the Prof, which ended up to be 25 minutes, I'm like, oh, this is too damn long. And we just edited out scenes, edited out people, and 21:37 is the least we can tell the story in. So we cut out a bunch of things, and I know it's probably going to hurt us, but so far it's been accepted in the 2 we submitted to. But, it just, that particular one cannot be shorter and be what it is.
Yeah.
But yeah, 15 minutes, 10 minutes if you can do it, but sometimes you just can't. But if you can't edit out something, even though you love this person, they gave a great performance, but you try and think of the story without that scene, and you're like, it's actually tighter, and then it's just got to go.
As an actor, I have advocated to cutting my own scenes because a film didn't need it. Sometimes that's just how it is. Sometimes what was accomplished with a look in another scene was said in 15 lines in a scene after that. You don't need those 15 lines anymore.
So I think that, what they're saying is absolutely spot on. Tell the story. The end. Tell the story. So if you're going to cut stuff, cut the bloopers. Bloopers have no place. This is my opinion. They have no place. No place. No place. You have created this world that you wish us to believe in, and then you're going to make me sit through 5 minutes of you acting like an idiot. It breaks the world that you've created. And now I say, oh, that must have been a fun set. Don't you want me to say that's a brilliant film? That's the first thing. Second of all, your closing credits, sometimes, they just go on and on and on and on. They are there to honor the people who worked on it. They're not to start a new story. It's not a new chapter. It just isn't. I understand as artists, visually and aesthetic, you can't resist going to that very last frame of making sure that your vision is there. But get through the credits. Make sure you've left us with the story. Show your piece to someone who is not related to you and did not work on it. And don't argue with them when they tell you it's not funny. It wasn't funny to them. So get another person. If another person said it wasn't funny, you may need to change the category and say you intended it to be that way. But you need to be professionals. Also, get out there and get your work seen and putting forth the very best thing that you want the festival to see. The credits right now, just because we can, we've gone way off the deep end. It just because we can. They're gorgeous, but unnecessary.
Yeah, I think that's great points, right? Yeah, totally. I think, just show of hands, how many people are filmmakers in this room? Cool. How many of you, keep your hands up for a second, how many of you have been rejected from a film festival? Cool, awesome, right? It is a part of the game, right?
Today or?
It's a part of the game, right?
Yeah, do I have to keep my hand up?
Oh, no. I thought this was the part where we take questions.
Not yet.
No, I think what I mean by that is like I think it is a part of the game, and every festival has its own sort of different taste on it, and it's. A lot of people said it right. I'm a firm believer of the story. The story is going to be key. I'm also a firm believer though, like for a short film, come in late, leave early. If you've never actually looked at, I'm a huge fan of the Story Clock Notebook. Has anyone ever heard of that?
No.
So look it up. It's Dan Harmon's Story Circle. It's basically like how good storytelling is shared and how it lingers and how you sort of can tell a good story. You can also take that same structure and also compare it to any short film that's won the Oscar in the past 10 years. Most of them follow some sort of that structure. I think to your point earlier, like credits that are too long or things that are unnecessary, you gotta be open to that too. I also think if you're making a short film and your target is short films, film festivals. For us at Phoenixville, our goal is to try to get as many films we possibly can in a film festival, right? Now, mind you, if we have a block of 90 minutes and we have 5 amazing short films, which they do exist, they're great, and we have your film that's also great, but it's 25 minutes long, we're going to pick the 5 that are shorter because we can see more filmmakers and we can get more audiences. That doesn't mean your film's not good. It just means for us, we only have a set time. It goes back to the time thing. So I think, also to your point earlier, is be open to know that your film might sort of suck. But I mean by that, I don't mean like suck. I mean like open to feedback and be understanding that rejection is a part of the game. All of us in this room has been rejected to a film festival at any given time. I've never met a filmmaker who's I've been accepted to every single festival. Like you submit to one and got in, congratulations. But every single film has been rejected. It's a part of the game.
Let's ask, how many people here have created something that wasn't that good? It happens. It happens.
Today or just not kidding?
It happens, and that feedback is good feedback. You want it when the stakes are, it's just you reading an email in your room. You don't want those stakes with 500 people at a theater, and you're in the Q&A, and people are saying something like, "Well, did you mean it to suck?" Not necessarily suck, but you know what I mean. Like, yeah, I mean that ending was horrible. Is that what you wanted? So,
but it's also not to cut you off. I apologize. It's also like perspective, right? So I had a film I played here last year that was about a drag queen who protected a child during an active shooting threat.
Nice. Yeah.
Did you see it? Oh, cool, awesome. Thank you. But we submitted that to a festival in Texas. That did not go well. You can imagine why. So it's a lot of it is perspective too. And I also realize that not everyone's gonna love your film. It's okay. But if you're proud of the story that you've told and it's getting into the festivals, great, right? It's really easy to compare yourself to others. And my best advice to any filmmaker is keep your eyes on your own paper, right? Yeah. It's really easy to look at someone else. Oh, this person got into a big film festival, and my film's not that great. Well, they've also been rejected from 10 other ones that maybe you've got into. So keep your eyes on your own paper. If you're staying true to the story, that's what matters most. That's my soapbox moment.
I'm going to change up the question a little as we move on to Sam. Make him go first again. So Kyle had said earlier about sound is so important and it's something that's often overlooked. Are there any other common things that are overlooked, not given enough attention, that can really hurt your chances?
I think so. Kyle's right. Sound is a huge thing. I think, and this is really tough to dial in exactly. Acting is, in terms of judge reviews, it definitely. I do find that when we go through, and Emily's actually one of our first stage judges. So Blackbird's a little bit different, maybe not that different. Other festivals might do, but there's 3 stages. The first stage is because we work closely with a college. Film study students, media production students are the first wave of defense. So we have usually about 30 to 35 media production students that watch. They work in teams of 3, and they watch every single film, and they themselves collectively vote. And when I get to see their comments, and oftentimes it's acting that really gets in the way. Yes, of course, technical stuff as well, but it's when the characters are not believable or not authentic. This it really cripples a film. Even if I can't tell you a number of films that I've seen where the technical side is beautiful. The cinematography, the sound design, the editing, everything beautiful. But it's the acting. It's terrible. It's like, you just can't get into it. And then the opposite of that, I've seen films where like the cinematography is like, whatever, the sound design is even a little off, but the acting is so authentic and so real, it's a beautiful film. And so I would say that sound design, yes, of course. You go to the bathroom the fastest I've ever.
Well, I didn't have to go to the bathroom. I just washed my hand. I just spilled this monster.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, you mentioned that.
So, but back to the acting.
Thanks for also bringing that up.
We went to a place earlier today. He went to the bathroom like that. I couldn't believe it.
So,
I think you
Katha.
do need to separate them.
Yeah, right. Katha, how about you? Are there any
Yes.
things that you think are often overlooked by filmmakers?
Yes, incomplete submissions.
Oh yeah.
Do your homework. Don't tell us it's a labor of love. They all are. All art is a labor of love. Don't tell me that. Don't tell me that all your people work for free. I'm working for free. I know that. I know it. It doesn't put you ahead of anything. It doesn't get our sympathy. It just doesn't. Because we know that. Art in America is difficult. It's not rewarded. Unless you're like, the top 2%. I'm sorry, I'm not. You're not. Here we are. Let's move forward. An incomplete submission where you don't have all of your stuff, like I can't see when it was made, etc. I don't care how much it costs. As a matter of fact, I'm of the mind you should never tell anybody ever what anything costs. It's really none of my business. I don't care, and I'm not going to ask you. If you have an email that you opened up just for your submissions, check it. Check it. Don't make me search for you. Here's the number one thing. When you're a problem, I have to look away from the community to serve you. That's not a good community member. And they may not know it now, but the community will know it soon. Because you're just that way. You make people look away from what it is all about. We know, and you know that we know that you know. You're asking us to like your film. We know that. You're paying us to look at it and to judge it. You're asking for my opinion to get into my dance at my party. We know this. We know this. So bring your best stuff. Do it all really well in the submission thing. Don't tell me you don't like social media. Don't tell me that you're not good on computers. I'm a dinosaur. I'm not either. But if you want to be in the room, that's what you have to be good at. The end. The end. So just be a professional and show that you want to be a strong member of that festival community and the indie film community in general. And so in that cover letter, tell her the respect you have for the gathering of the people that she brings forward. Tell her the respect that you have for 26 years, how she has brought unheard voices forward. Tell her that you know about her festival and that's why you wish to contribute. Don't beg to get in. Tell her, I'm perfect for you at your event. I'm going to bring the goods. I'm going to bring them for you.
When the time comes that hopefully your film gets in, hopefully it's going to be scheduled. If you have a special request, you may request it, but request it in such a way that you know it probably won't be granted, but like I'm in, I don't know, Puerto Rico for, 6 of the days, and I'm only available one. Hey, if you could happen to, if you can, I understand it, we'll get somebody there. Let them know, and if they can, maybe they can do something, but maybe it's not possible. But never be like, we've had people tell us, okay, can you switch the time? I just can't make it. Okay, can you put my film first? Because somebody has to fly out. Now that it's 2 days before and everything's loaded, could I please give you a new version? I think that's probably happened to all of us.
I did that to you last year.
If your film does not win, don't have a hissy fit. If your film doesn't get in, and there really could be a million reasons it doesn't get in. It could be the length, it could be the sound, it could be the acting. It could just simply be that you have 30 films that have exactly the same score, and 7 people have to decide which one's going to go in, and maybe yours could get in, and if somebody drops out, it might, but this time it can't. And it's not because you're hated, unless you're hated, but you really, but you really have to give like a solid reason, because it's just comes down to scores, and then all the other things are in the periphery of that. But like you said, be a good community member, because I don't know if anybody here gets paid for doing this, but I know I certainly don't. So when Lizzie doesn't, and Manny doesn't, and it's we're doing it because we want to do it for you. Yes, we want to meet you. Yes, we want to see great films. But there's so much that happens for that to happen. So have a little respect for that, and then you'll be appreciated, or thanked.
You know how hard it was to get everybody on set for like 5 days, maybe even a week? Think about getting 100 and somebody film teams into 5 different venues, 3 different venues, with 6 or 7 panels, with equipment in every single room, with tags that have to have your name spelled correctly, with the times, so that every time she pushes button to play, it does it. So when you say, you know what, I knew that your festival was in October, and I submitted to a whole bunch of people, and I'm kind of pitting you all against each other, but I'm gonna be in Puerto Rico, so can you screen mine last? You are hurting the community. And nobody in here deserves that. So just know that that's the festival that you're not going to be at. It's okay, it's okay, it's okay. Because we're going to work to make sure it'll be okay. It's going to be okay. It's going to be okay.
Todd?
Yeah, look, I don't want to turn this into Gripe Fest 2023, but I do think these things are important, because people ask me all the time, why didn't you accept my film? And one, follow the rules, like whatever, whether it's Film Freeway or whatever. I am meticulous about the rules. I am very clearly a genre festival, and people will submit a comedy, a romantic drama, and I'm like, well, don't whine that you didn't get into a horror film festival. So, and for the love of all that is good and pure, do not ask me for a fee waiver. I understand that it costs money to submit to festivals. I spend money on that myself. It costs me money to run my festival. And if I granted a waiver to everyone who had some sob story about, I didn't think of that when I was budgeting my film. When I budget a film, I have a line item for film festival travel and submissions for that very reason. Please. I will, if anything will disqualify you right away for me, it's begging for a waiver. I know you don't have money, neither do I, right? So just follow the rules. And again, to your point, just be a good citizen, The email thing makes me mental. 3 days before a festival, and I'm begging a filmmaker, you didn't deliver a screenable copy of your film yet. Sorry, you're out. I can't.
That is the most common comment I've gotten from festival programmers and directors. Tell filmmakers to read their emails, read the whole email, and respond accordingly, because films get dropped from festivals after they've been accepted because they aren't giving the festival what they need to play the film. It seems very simple, but it's not, and it upsets the whole festival, because then they're having to shift things around, find another film to replace it. It's a rigmarole. But once we've been through all of this, we've made our film, we've submitted, we've written a beautiful cover letter, our sound is amazing. What is your advice to filmmakers on how to make the most out of the festival experience? Deb, it seems like you have something.
I mean, come is really it. It's. I wish we had more time, that we didn't have to do panels the same time as screenings, but then the choice would either be take half as many films or not do panels. But this is where everybody hangs out. This lounge is gold.
I would like to thank the Gold Coast Studios for being the lounge sponsor this year, because this lounge is amazing.
It's crucial.
And every festival that has a meeting place, I get so much more out of that festival, because meeting people is why I go to festivals. So, yes, definitely.
So that's gold. Come here, meet each other. The really cool thing is, as the years go on, more and more people know each other, and because we all go to a lot of different film festivals, we get to also know each other. So it's almost like, hey, it's time to party, because you know half the people there. And then when it's easier, if you see somebody sitting alone, kind of go find out what their film is. Go talk to them too, because then that brings it all into. I am the world's worst networker ever, because I can't ask people for things, and I can't, But if you're just hanging out talking about people's films, then it's a whole commonality. And like I said, the board before, the panel before, was so diverse, wonderful.
Yes.
You know, and that's really should be the event of coming together. So come, you know, and get to know people and maybe work together. I've worked with a lot of people I've met at film festivals. And people who have come here in the past have executive produced or produced for other people or hired them from people they met at the film festival. So if you are going to make more films or you just want to enjoy the film festival, you got to be there to do it.
Katha.
You know, it's a live event. Shit's gonna happen. It's going to happen. 99% of the time, nothing happens. And that's the number one vein of my existence. I don't really relax until the last button on the last thing is in, and I see the thing. Okay, good. Now I can go to the bathroom and do whatever needs to be done. You know, be a good community member. Come prepared. Follow the festival online. If you're screening with other filmmakers, introduce yourselves to them online. Be part of their connection. Go to the other screenings and ask questions in their Q&As that make them look good. Don't open your question like, well, I'm screening here also at 10 o'clock tomorrow, so we need to really wrap this up so I can do a little bit more promoting here. But I want to know about your titles. Did you want them in red? It doesn't matter what you're doing at their screening. It's their screening. Be what makes that a success, because when that screening is a success, the festival is a success, and you have screened then at a successful festival. That is crucial. Say thank you. Say thank you, say thank you, say thank you. Go to the volunteers, go to the associates, go to the guy behind the camera, go to the people that are at the step and repeat, and thank them. Because they love your film as much as these people do. They're there because of your film. And don't get drunk. Don't get drunk at a party. Do not do it. You're not there to party.
Who told you? Wait.
You're legendary, dude. You're legendary. It's show business. And you are there promoting your work, not just this work, but the work of everybody who sacrificed for those weekends to do your thing. For your mom who cooked, for your auntie who did this, for everybody who gave you a free thing. You're there to represent them and to tell the world, we deserve to be here. We deserve to be at the show. And you're not only here for that show, you're here for your next one. Because afterwards, you want people to say, God, she was just great. You know, she was just so wonderful. The screening, we were just 3 minutes late, and she was great. She got up, she welcomed people, she was wonderful. And then she came to the party, and somebody knocked over some drinks, and she just picked them up and put them there, and then went back to her thing. Be that person. Be the person that makes it work. You worked hard enough to be in the room. The room is dynamic, and it's full of people that we don't know. We never met all of you. Lots could go wrong. Look at these two. They're very suspicious right now. Right? Anything could happen. We don't know each other. And here's a news flash. We're all a little broken. We're all a little broken, and that's why we need you to tell stories. That's why we need you, so that people can sit in the dark and say, I didn't know that I wasn't alone.
So understated. How do we get you out of your shell?
I should have finished my coffee and then I would have had a little bit more confidence. What do you got?
It's like, follow up with that. How's that?
Why don't we follow up with questions from the audience? Who
I want to
has...
answer that.
Okay, 2 questions.
And he's looking at me, so I'm nervous.
So, cover letters. Should you do one?
Yes. Some people will read them, some people won't. I'm awful for never ever looking at them. However, the other judges go through and say, hey, did you know? And then I know. But yes, do it so that if somebody's looking for it, it's there. And if somebody refers you to a film festival, make sure you put that in there because there's a lot of film
typically
festivals.
I don't put anything there, but I've done that, like
Yeah.
if somebody's.
Right.
I've heard your festival is. So-and-so said it was great. I missed the last one. I wish I had. I met a filmmaker that was at your last one. He said, she said. Establish that you have done your homework as a professional and you are submitting to her festival because you think you're a good fit, not because you're desperate to sit at the cool kid table, because you're obviously there. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah, show her in your letter that you know about our festival, you want to be there.
Or if you're an alumni, mention that as well, because maybe you might know, or you maybe were here 5 years ago and the person looking at it, that judge particularly doesn't know, so mention
You don't
that
know
stuff.
who's reading that cover
Well,
letter.
my problem is I don't want it to sound like,
Template.
Yeah, don't be a sucker.
No,
I mean, just.
Well, you would do it for a job, right? If you were sending in a resume, you'd put a cover letter. So it just doesn't have to be, no, I don't mean that sarcastically, but, although I do, because it's Tim.
So just be honest.
Yeah.
Don't be fake.
Yeah,
and just
right.
be honest.
Well,
Hey, cover letters are always awkward, so let me just say, I really want to screen at your festival.
that would work.
Right? And I've heard great things. Hope you enjoy it.
I would say a couple of things too with cover letters, because I think I get what you're saying in terms of you want to avoid it being template, and so what I would say to that is don't let it be template. And I think in terms of filmmakers submitting to festivals, one tip that I would give is to not just throw your film at every single festival that's listed on Film Freeway that day. Not only is it going to be very expensive, you're going to be wildly unsuccessful just because.
Yeah, you definitely
But
have
instead,
to
I think you
research
should
that.
go like very specifically select festivals that you very much intend to go to.
Right.
That I think exactly what you're talking about, the community. Like, find the festivals you want to be a part of, figure out why, go to them, and then write a cover letter that's very specific to that. One thing I would say about cover letters, because we definitely reference them, is keep them short. I cannot tell you how many cover letters it's like, I really want to be part of your festival. Here's my life story. I was bored. And it's just like,
Yeah.
Please don't.
just a blurb.
Yeah, it's not really impressive if you've been in 57 awards film festivals, because that shows us you don't know the industry at all. I think there might be a few that are legitimate, but there are 10,000 that are not. You pay, you're going to be nominated in 20 categories, you're going to win at least one, you have to pay $500 for a trophy, which has to come to your house. It's really not impressive. We're going to be polite and say, oh, yay, but we're not. It just shows that you kind of don't know what you're doing. And I think maybe all of us have done it for our first film, going, hey, I'm playing all over the world online somewhere, where maybe somebody's coming. I don't, but it's just not impressive. And there's more every day, sadly,
I actually, to answer your question about the cover letter, I'm going to totally flip the script. I think if the cover letters that we're focused on, obviously continue to focus on the film, because our judges at our festival don't have access to the cover letter. True. So if you put it on Film Freeway, it's turned off. Everything is turned. So festivals, you have the control of what our judges see. So I mean, is the cover level good? Sure, have one. Why not? But know that I don't know if it's going to make the decision, at least for us.
Right.
You know, I mean, I think it's a, and also just I want to go back to your question about like some research or like some advice for filmmakers. When I go to festivals, all these guys have been some great stuff, right? Go to festivals, meet people, and know what you want to get out of it. I do have one sort of caveat. If you're in a short film block, don't leave after your film plays. That's just
God.
I
Yeah.
that one. That one I was like, I want to say that because or be on your phone. To your point, like meet other filmmakers and connect with them. And I think actually the two women that just walked out, they came to Fort Myers. That's I know Debra, and I know these guys from being at festivals. So.
And I went there because they recommended.
Yeah, it's like it's festivals.
I'm sure they have a very good reason for leaving. They're very wonderful.
Well, yeah, sorry. Their film plays
That's
at 4
why.
o'clock. That's why. Yeah, their films play at 4 o'clock.
Very good reason.
I'm filling in.
But yeah, so to answer your question about cover letters, I think it does depend on the festival. It doesn't hurt to have one. Why not? I think to Sam's point, keep it short, but just know that not every festival is going to read it, nor do judges have access to it.
I think going back to the very first thing that Debra said is better to have it and
Yeah,
have them
yeah,
not
totally.
read it than
Totally.
to have them looking for it and not have it. So, he had one other question, then we'll go over to you, Miriam.
So the super late deadlines, do you actually watch those movies?
Yes, and sometimes they will change everything.
Yeah.
It drives me crazy.
Because anyone I've submitted to that never gets in.
Yes.
I can only speak for my festival.
Yes.
Right.
All the judges watch all the movies,
Yes.
including myself as the director.
Yes.
So
Yes.
the answer for me
Yes.
is yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
It's
Everything
hard.
gets
It is
watched.
hard, and we've had several years where that changed everything, and we had to go back and do a lot of hard decisions. It was horrible, but but it was great. It was a great film. Had to do it.
Yeah, no, same for us. I mean, we watched to the very last minute. I know because also Film Freeway. I'm sure everyone knows here. It's to Sam's point earlier, do your research because there's a ton of scams. Any person that is paying for an award or like a monthly screening or anything that they ask you to submit at 50% discount. They want your film, they'll give you a waiver code. But No, I mean, like, we watch every last minute. We have at least 3 people watch it at all times.
That's why it's more expensive too, because you are getting it in at the last minute, and we have to set aside time. And like Katha said, we might have to change
Like
our
I
whole
said,
programming
I
schedule.
feel like a lot of them don't even bother.
I want to share one thing based off of what you were just saying about when you start submitting on Film Freeway, you will, and even posting on Instagram and Facebook, you'll start getting messages from film festivals you've never heard of offering you a discount of 30% or less. Usually it brings you down, like they're already at their late deadline, it brings you down to their regular deadline price. What I have started doing is writing back and being like, oh, I'm so glad you want to see my film. Unfortunately, I've already spent my film festival budget. Can you give me a full waiver? And they always go, no, we can't do that. And I go, okay.
Well, they're probably the only ones making money.
I got a message there today that said, dear artist.
Sounds legit.
I have had some that were very, very flattering. They were dying to see my film if I would only pay them $20. And, no thank
To
you.
that point, though, I mean, listen, as filmmakers, it is important to do your research. I mean, look at, I think a telltale sign is the website. What does the website look like, right? And what do the reviews look like? But also be very careful with that, because there are also a lot of those like monthly reviews that everyone gets in and they just get a good review and then it looks legit. But like, see if it's on like, cause we talked about this before, but like Film Freeway does not do a good job at filtering this stuff out.
No.
Very bad.
So there's a lot of scam ones. Anything that's like monthly that sends you an invite, or like, you know, something awards. That's like a film award. There's the Prisma, whatever.
Yeah.
Like, everyone gets in this.
If you have to pay to be in a category.
Oh God, yeah.
Yeah.
Or to be nominated. There's a
Yeah.
I won't say the name, but there's a festival. It's in New Jersey that does that. It's like do you want to be nominated for best director? It's $50. You want to be nominated? It's like that's a money grab, right? Like I think there's a lot of festivals that are really really good that are smaller that don't charge as much. You know, obviously we need to charge something because we need to be able to put a festival on, but just really do your research. I've seen a lot of filmmakers burned on festivals that like weren't real. They never had any communication or whatnot. You know, so
100%. Very
Can I
happy.
ask 2 questions?
Yes, you can.
So my first question is, do you have advice for how to learn about the etiquette of film festivals? So I've personally been a programmer for years. I'm also a filmmaker, and I feel like, but it's been a lot of time. Every festival I've gone to, I've learned more and more etiquette. Is there a way like to speed it up? Are there websites or people that you can talk to, or resources that you can understand and learn the etiquette, or is it really just coming to the festival?
Sorry. Yeah, I think it's coming to festivals and learning the etiquette. I mean, also like everyone has their own sort of etiquette. I mean, right? Like this is a two-way street, right? Festivals rely on filmmakers. Filmmakers rely on festivals. I think that relationship is super important, and it's that community piece that is dry. Like, right? Like, I think if filmmakers come to festivals and they're sort of like, no, you're honored to have me here, right? Like, they want to be that person. Like, it's very easy. But also, like, at the same time, like, again, film programmers talk to one another, right? Like, we know sort of, like, right? But I think it's coming to festivals and learning and knowing what you want to get out of it, right? If you're looking to just, you know, I don't know, become the next Marvel director, it's probably not going to happen at a film festival. But like, if you want to go and you network and you connect, and also like, this is a pet peeve of mine as a filmmaker. If you go to another person's film and you tell someone that you're going to come see your film and you don't, I noticed that. Like, just go support other filmmakers. We obviously can't see every single film. I get it, but like, just also be honest. Like, hey, I can't make your film. I'm so sorry, but if you can support, because again, we're all in the same community, we're on the same boat. Like, if you can support one another, that's sort of how we all elevate as a group.
I think New York Women in Film and Television, I think Femme Fatales, they do a very good job on holding these webinars and these seminars a lot. At our festival, a month ahead of time, we hold the kickoff party, and I'm basically telling people how you need to behave and to get the best out of this. But the rule of thumb is, you know, no longer can you say to people, treat others how you would have them treat you, because some people like to get the shit kicked out of them. So it just, you know, they're
I usually have to pay extra for that.
Yeah.
You need to call me. Okay. So
I'm so good at your film festival. Yeah.
So I'm much better behaved. I'm like on vacation.
No, this is great.
Okay. So you know how groups of human beings have to behave in order for things to go well. Be one of those people who understand it. And the thing is that something's going to happen at a festival at some point. If you go to festivals with more than one film, you go to more than one festival, something's going to happen that you're not going to be super happy about. So for the festivals, what we want is we want to recover well and have you walk away saying, yeah, they really fucked it up, but they were great about it, and this is what happened. We want the same from you guys. We want you to be that kind of filmmaker, like, yeah, he was really late or she was really late, but she was very apologetic, and she came in, she did it, she was there, she stayed right by me, and we got it done, and she was very appreciative. So we know shit's gonna happen. So be gracious. We're putting this thing on with you. It's not happening to you. You are a living organism in this thing that we hit play and it's gotta go. So just be there, be part of it, be part of the community, be supportive, and know what you're going to bring to the table that's not only gonna serve you, but gonna serve what we're here doing for those 4 or 5 days.
What was your second question?
My second question was, so, I mean, I'm not going to submit to Sundance. Like, I tried to look at the things I wanted to, and I mean, genre horror. But what I wanted to do was I wanted to get into the community of Holly Shorts because they were in LA. So I submitted, even though I didn't think I would make it. But then when they responded, like, I got the name of who they were and all this other information. Now I'm getting their newsletters. And then I submitted to Rooftop Films, and I didn't get in. But they're like, next time you come to Rooftop, you can sell your name at the desk, and we'll give you a free ticket with a friend. So my question is, should I be strategic and keep doing this, or is this a waste of my money? I have a budget line for my films.
Ooh,
Very dynamic question.
so I think that comes down to research, right? If you look at your film and then look at the other films that they're selecting, Holly Shorts is a great one. We just got turned down from them yesterday, actually. Yeah.
Congratulations.
Yes. So, but again, yeah, cheers.
Not today.
Cool.
You got in it.
Oh, that's awesome.
That's so cool.
I think do your research, right? Like I said, rejection's a part of this, right? The money thing's tricky, right? So you know your budget. Like, if you're okay with, like, we submit to Sundance too. We all probably did something, hopefully. But you can submit, but knowing you're gonna probably lose that money, it's like a casino, right? But you do it just as.
Say you're an actor filmmaker who's looking to get a better foothold in your home market. You want to be submitting to film festivals in your home market. Whereas if you're looking to build up your name as a director and travel around and meet people, then you want to be. It comes down to priorities and that research. Yeah.
Those are both incredible entities. Yes, you want to be connected to them. Yes. Whatever you need to do to get yourself to the next level for them to see you as a valuable asset in the community. Go volunteer.
Yeah.
Recommend a great film. Bring 10 people to a rooftop event and just go up to them and say, the fact that you responded to me is so incredible. You have a friend right here, let me know what you need. Become part of the community.
Yeah, I want to second that too. I think we've had, so Blackbird's been fortunate enough, we've had filmmakers come who've then gone on to qualify for the Academy Awards. And I've said to him, how did you do this? And he's as flabbergasted as anybody, but he said, it's knowing people. You've got to bounce around, and once you get to know somebody who's already in the inn, they show you the secret sauce. And he says, I'm so confused, I don't know if I recommend doing it again. He's just been kind of a disaster. This is Doug Rowland with Feeling Through back in 2021 or whatever it was. Yeah, he first time filmmaker made this film. It went on to qualify as one of the 5 nominated best live action shorts. He did not win, but so after that I was like, Doug, what the hell happened? Because he screened at Blackbird before this happened. He's like, oh yeah, this is an amazing film, it's awesome, we love it. But then this went on, I reached out and said, what the hell did you do? He's like, I don't know, man. He says, but I wouldn't do it again. He says it was a disaster. He says, like, it was so difficult. I was not prepared for it. Basically, he got connected to people who had already been part of the Academy, and they far from putting any money into the actual production or producing of the film, they then signed on late after they saw it kind of having success. Then they came in and said, "Yep, we're going to be the executive producer of this film," and it got plucked up, and he got thrown into this really intense situation of just promoting a film that kind of started to get away from his original vision. So it's complicated in that sense, but I think this is great advice in terms of how do you, since Sundance and all these other festivals they're cherry picking from their own community, right? So how do you join that community is I think exactly that, volunteering, supporting their events, you become part of that community, and then at that point, it becomes a question: is do you want to be part of that community? You know, that's something I think by volunteering, you'll get a sense for what's happening there, right? You know, because I think here we are here, and this is a very personal, interpersonal situation. We're chatting with each other, and like that's not the vibe of Sundance, right? That's you're there to sell, you know.
I mean, I've had 2 films. One that I directed got into LA Shorts. There was nobody there. I mean, people to see the film, but nobody there from the film festival.
Yeah.
They gave you a tag that didn't even have a lanyard. It was like a piece of paper you had to laminate yourself.
Yeah.
And maybe it was just that one screening area. And then we went to Flickers with my first film, and it was held in the basement of a church in, say, August, I don't remember the month, with no air conditioning. And again, almost nobody there from the film festival. But so yeah, the laurels are great, the creds are great.
It's a different atmosphere. It's a totally different environment.
I just want to say one last thing. I think we're pushing time. I'm really sorry, but okay, let's say you don't get in, and then the other festivals that you submitted to, you do get in. I would appreciate if you don't write me an email saying, "Hey, we just got accepted as so and so, and they really like us." I mean, should I hold my festival again?
Wow.
Should I say, "You're right, I really did. I've got to call all those filmmakers and get those awards back." Oh my God! I mean, it just is that way. I will always say, "Congratulations, you deserved it. That's wonderful. I'm super glad for you." Because as they were saying earlier, if you get 800 films and you screen 100. You could have programmed 700 other film festivals. You could have literally programmed. So, you know, no has to happen. It just wasn't your time. That's all it is. It's not a condemnation of you. It just wasn't your time with that festival. So go make a better film. Get into another festival and keep it moving, keep going, keep growing, keep going.
There's somebody, I don't think he's here right now, but they tried to get into this film festival 3 times. I don't remember the other films because it was over the last, however, 20 years, and then they came back this year with a phenomenal film. And we took it, and they were like, you know, I tried 3 times, I'm so excited. But he kept making better films, you know. So it's just something to consider.
Okay, we have time for 1 or 2 more questions.
How do you feel about, say you really believe you have a really good film and you don't get accepted 1 year and you resubmit the next year? Is that a no-no or?
Yeah, don't do it.
Sorry, the same film? Yeah.
No, don't do it.
I mean, if they've given you an indication that that is what they want, then yes.
Okay.
If you have done major changes, then yes, there's 15,000 film festivals.
Right.
It just wasn't your year with them. You know, when people ask me, can I see the notes? I usually say 30 days after the festival, contact me and I will get them to you. It's just so hard, and it's going to make me look away from all these things I'm contractually responsible for. So I can't do that, but I don't think it's a good practice for you. I mean, I just don't.
If you've made major changes, your soundtrack was terrible, it's been redone. I mean, you can ask the festival, can I resubmit it? Or it was 15 minutes, I made it 10, it's much tighter. You can ask, and sometimes we'll say, you know, it had promise, so maybe, but yeah, just to resubmit it is not a good idea.
And just be careful of the festival, because like everyone was saying, just find the reputation, because there are some festivals that will always take your money. And you can resubmit year after year after year and pay the submission fee. But if you're asking me, like for my festival, I have a rather extensive jury, and if they didn't pick it, it's probably not going to happen again.
And
so.
some festivals will only look at submissions that were completed within the last year or 18 months.
Correct.
What's your
It's
question?
very kind of you to offer.
I think we owe this, I didn't expect to be here today, so I'm very flattered. And I want to put together our hands for these lovely people who gave us so much information. Could we put a nice... And you too. You want to pay attention? My name is T.J. Wells. I'm a 30-year SAG member. We depend on people, as from this moment on, who can produce good films, short films, 1.5-minute films. It doesn't matter, because we're union members and we want our lives to go on. We've been through Charlton Heston. We've been through Ronald Reagan as the president of the Screen Actors Guild. We've been through Lou Grant, and now Fran Drescher. So let's hear it for those people who kept our lives going so that your lives could give us work and we could do good jobs for you too. So please, support our group.
I think we had a question back here.
Yes, just going back concerning the award festivals. First, looking at strategy forward, I know there's a lot of resources, and one of the resources I've depended on quite a bit is the Film Festival Alliance. We're looking at different festivals and reliability. Is there anything that each of you have, just like one group or one place that might be that reliable source that you would recommend?
Talk to other filmmakers maybe that did well, that you did, who have done well, and if they actually know what they're doing, then maybe they'll give you that information. You can look at the length of time that a film festival's been there. 26 didn't happen, fly by night. You do have to be really careful as a filmmaker because there's 5,000 Cannes film festivals, and the short film corner plays pretty much anything if you pay them, and then there's a lot of people who will take known film festivals and just change a couple of words and then submit it. And honestly, a lot of filmmakers submit there knowing it's not you, but they can use the laurel. It's like, but I got in there, which they didn't. It's really hard to say. Film Freeway does not do a great thing. And people are very rarely going to rip the film festival in the comments because they want to get in another year. They're just going to say, great, and you don't really get the information there. I wish I had a better suggestion, but if it says awards, and I feel bad for the very few legitimate ones there are, because I know somebody who just heartbreaks every year, and I'm like, change the name of your film festival. Because the awards is kind of a clear sign. Online is a very clear sign.
It comes up, look at the website too, right? Again, like I mentioned earlier, look at their official selections. Do those official selections, are they like, any film festival that has 800 films that have been selected, unless you're doing 55 blocks, no, I'm just kidding. But right, festivals, there's so, look at their website. To Deborah's point, it's like a monthly thing, an award thing. More often than not, it's not real. Take your money and you'll get selected. A couple years ago, I had a filmmaker friend of mine who submitted to a couple of those. They were like $10 each. He spent $30, and he just submitted just like a 30 seconds of black video.
Oh, that's good.
And it got selected.
That's good.
So
It's more like a John Page kind of style.
Yeah. And so very nuanced. There's a lot of them that they won't watch them selected, and then you feel good about it.
What Film Festival Alliance? That's such a great deal, and everybody should be on that and should be looking because we're held to a certain accountability, and there's many festivals who just don't do it, and then they close their deal down, and then next year there's a new site, and it's slightly different. So on Film Freeway, they run 2 years, they get $30,000-$40,000 worth of submissions, and then they close it, and then no one's arresting film festival directors. I mean, we don't see that happening, and they happen. Our festival was literally started because of a woman who shamed our borough by starting a festival, and she scammed it, and we used her point by point by point by point by point of what not to do. We also use LIIFE as point by point by point by point what you should do. And there are times when I will call her because it's like around the house. It's like, what would Debbie do? Because you have to look at people who have going. So if your gut is telling you in any way that's not where you should put your $35, then just keep it going. Go to the next one. You're a smart guy. You can figure that out. You can see who's for you and who isn't for you.
And I want to add to this too, because I think that I think that this is something that all of you should consider, is the idea of awards. I mean, no offense, who cares?
I hate them.
I'm glad you said it.
I hate them so much.
You don't need it. It's not the point. I mean, if you're going to get yourself into an Academy Award calling film festival, you're going to hit that category and win that, and go on to the Academy Awards. Great, sure, an award. Other than that, the whole point is community, as everybody's been saying here. You want to. The strategy, I would say, wherever you are based, look around 50-mile radius, what are the local film festivals, and then just go to them. See what their vibe is. If they're cool, start courting people there, volunteering or submitting your work. Go there, meet the filmmakers who are also engaged in the community, active, etc. Ask where they're submitting, have them recommend you, submit there, and grow your network bigger and bigger. You will eventually run into those filmmakers who are connected to those big time festivals, and then from there they might be able to help you carve it. But otherwise, nobody gives a shit about the awards. I'm thinking about the film. Some film festivals.
I can see that.
We don't personally love awards, admittedly. But at the end of the day, when I think about Film Freeway, they have the list all the festivals and your things been in there. I got to admit, when I see a film that comes through with the poster, I can't even see what the name of the film is because there's 1,000 worlds. I think to myself, well, this film's lived its course. I'm not interested. I'm interested in the film that hasn't yet been in festivals. I want those filmmakers to come and have their first screening, their premiere, if you will. That's fun. They're excited. If they had 20 plus awards, it's like, who cares? Another film festival? They're not going to care. They're not going to show up. They're not going to be part of our community. So it doesn't awards are cool. They're fun. We obviously love the award ceremony for the drinks. But at the end of the day, the awards are cool, but it's not the way to grow.
So should you put in there that you will attend?
Yeah. Well, and be serious about it. It doesn't necessarily.
Right. I mean, you don't go in and say that to everyone.
If you're going to attend, yes.
Yeah. I would be very specific about the festivals you want to go to for yourself, more so than obviously the festivals want that too, but choose a festival that really is going to give back to you, something you can go to, engage with, and you walk away feeling like my film screened, I met cool people, I'm happy, and the festival's going to be happy with that too.
Just get up and go smack them.
Yeah. Symbiotic.
Lindsay has a question.
No, I don't have a question. I just wanted to kind of answer that question too. One thing you can definitely do is look at social media. If the film festival has 5 posts and they're 52 weeks old, or 126 weeks old, and they have 5 followers, or they're paid. You can judge if they're paying for followers, if they're active. You can see, is it in person, is it not in person? A lot of times, anybody who's tagged in the post or posted about the festival, reach out to them. Like I think Katha was saying, we are a community, and we need to help one another, and the festivals are finding that. We're having events like this where we can tag one another and build this community. So you guys can be doing the same thing. So definitely, I think social media is a great place to research and to really look at the festival, find out the age of it, kind of the feeling of it, is it a good fit for you.
Okay.
So we keep talking about the age, but also you have a first year, and we were all first year at one point in time. And I remember those alumni from our first year. We're archiving everything right now, and I just got finished archiving 2011, and it was just phenomenal to go by and to see where these people are now. It's just insane. And I remember them coming in, and they didn't know what was going on, and neither did I. And it was just, it's great. So the years are good. Because they said that they were consistently able to do what they said they're going to do. Because that's how a festival gets folded down. You don't do what you say you're going to do. You don't pay your venues, or you don't do what you say you're going to do. So for 26 years, they have been able to consistently do what they said they were going to do. Now, though, you have first year, great vibe, lots of stuff happening. So again, it's what's going to be the best for your film for right now, while you're working on your next one.
Yeah.
While you're working on your next one.
I think that's a great point, right? Like being a first year film festival, I have a little bit of a head start because I have some Fort Myers folks. I would make some connections, but we realized that we're up against this speculation period of you're not real, you're a first year, and we get it, right? I understand. I personally, as a filmmaker, typically don't submit to first year festivals, so we have to follow through with everything that we're saying we're going to do, just so we can make that standard moving forward.
I mean, you do have the background from Fort Myers, so that's why. I think I submitted 37 projects, so
Oh yeah.
Did you really? No.
You may have.
Wow.
probably about 7. But anyway, because I don't know what it's going to be like or whatever. Screenplays, I think you take to whatever.
Oh, yeah.
It is. I
It's
submitted
gonna be
a bunch
cool,
of
I
stuff.
promise.
But I
Thankfully-
know you as having had a legitimate film festival for years before, so
Yeah.
And being part of this community and getting to hear about it all here is an excellent way to kick things off. And I want to thank everybody, audience and we've definitely gone over time, so thank you for your patience, and it was informative. Have a great day, everybody.
Thanks, everybody.
Okay, hold on.
Let's take a